I love books, even more than AI. You're looking at an infographic made by AI, not just summarizing Homer's Odyssey, but reimagining it alongside a Jules Verne novel around the world in 80 days. And it took under a minute to generate, as did a mind-blowing conversation between Captain Ahab and Huckleberry Finn. NotebookLM, one of my favorite AI tools, isn't just for research anymore. It evolved into a full-blown creative studio, and it now lets you create infographics, slide decks, and even conversations between characters that have never met. Today, I'll show you the latest updates, and I'm using it to stage truly epic literary matchups. Hi, I'm Chantal, and welcome back to AI for 50+. Today's video is all about NotebookLM's latest two updates, Infographic and Slide Deck, and I'll show you how I use them in two different literary matchups. Our first matchup is all about adventure, but two very different kinds. Moby Dick brings us Captain Ahab, obsessed about revenge against a white whale. It's dark, intense, and all about man versus nature at its most destructive. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, on the other hand, is about freedom, floating down the Mississippi, escaping society's rules. It's lighter, more hopeful, and all about discovery. Let's go to my computer. So your first step is to get the links of the books that you want to match up. And you go to Project Gutenberg, and then you will have some public domain books that are free. The address is here, gutenberg.org. So you go to the site, and in this search bar here, you put the name of the book. Moby Dick is already there, so I'll put it in. You click go here, and I always take the one that has the most downloads. You click on it, and then you click on Read Now here. And this is the link that you will be copying, and this is the one you'll be pasting in NotebookLM. In our case, I did this already, and you also do the same thing. You go back, you go in the search bar, and I've put Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and I copied also the link for that book. Now, let's go to NotebookLM. In NotebookLM, I have the notebook here already created, and you'll notice that I have the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn from Project Gutenberg, and I have Moby Dick also from Project Gutenberg. We'll start with the first new update, Infographic, so you have it here. And based on a prompt that I worked with Gemini 3, and you can use, of course, ChatGPT here or Claude, I asked NotebookLM to make an infographic called The Ocean versus the River, a split stream map in Victorian woodcut style. So this is what it looked like. Here we go. And I mean, look at this. It's true that I get excited about things, but this, I mean, my jaw dropped when I saw this. You see the ocean at the top, Moby Dick in navy like I'd requested, and the green and muddy brown for the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And the contrast is striking. So one world is driven by obsession and revenge, the other freedom, and you can even almost feel, just by looking at the expression of the faces and what they're doing, the difference in vibe there. Now, there's a couple of typos. I believe here, if we zoom in a bit, it didn't go to the right place. But there's a here, confluence in the feg instead of fog. So I've picked up a couple of typos, but it's pretty damn good. That's the first update, Infographic, and it's very impressive. So the second thing I did with this matchup is have a conversation between Captain Ahab and Huck Finn, because they have such different voices. Ahab speaks in that intense biblical tone, and Huckleberry Finn is relaxed and like rural. So I wanted to see how different it was. So this is the prompt that I pasted in here, and again, Gemini helped me. Based on the text provided, write 2 separate paragraphs answering the question, what is the most important thing to possess on a boat? Paragraph 1 in the voice of Captain Ahab, so from his perspective, and paragraph 2, the voice of Huck Finn. And the goal is to show the extreme contrast between Ahab's obsession and Huck's relaxation. I won't read you the whole thing, but I'll just read you a bit. Basically says that the harpoon is the most important part, and it says all else is mere tool, but the will to strike that is the very essence of command, the ultimate possession. My purpose is an incurable idea, an act immutably decreed and rehearsed in a billion years before these waves rolled. I am the fate's lieutenant. My destiny is bolted in me. I would strike the sun if it insulted me. When the final moment comes, ye will know that Ahab's hawser still tows its purpose, and the harpoon, like one of the 3 fates, is all. You can, I could have done it a bit better, and maybe a man's voice would have been better, but, you can feel the intensity there. So then you have Huck Finn, and I'll just read a couple of nice. Reckon, and I won't have a nice, good, a good accent here, but reckon the most important thing to possess ain't steel or charts or gold, not if you just want to drift and be free. Me, I was powerful, lazy, and comfortable once I was on the island. Jim, he said, he had his pipe and a plugger dog leg and some matches, and they weren't wet. So he was all right. When I was laying out my plan, the first thing I done was light a pipe and had a good long smoke. That's the real important thing on a boat, a corncob pipe or maybe an easy conscience. You can see it's very, very different, and it's there's so much more you can do, but it was perfect. Ahab was fire and fury, and Huck just wanted a paddle and some peace. So that's the power of this tool, of NotebookLM. You're not just studying literature, you're getting inside the characters and hearing their voices in context. Let's move now to matchup number 2. So go back here and let me call it. Second matchup is all about ambition and wealth. The Great Gatsby shows us the American dream in the 1920s, and Jack Gatsby reinventing himself to win back Daisy. So you have lavish parties, new money, and it's all about chasing love and status. The other book, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, dives into the British class system. Pip inherits mysterious wealth, becomes a gentleman, but grows ashamed of where he came from. Both chase wealth, both are undone by it, but in very different ways. The first thing I did was to try the second update, which is the slide deck here. And again, I had a prompt that I worked on with Gemini, and this is what I got in terms of, and I asked for 6 slides. First, I want to show you the prompt that I use, view custom prompt. Create a 6-slide presentation comparing the illusion of wealth in the Great Gatsby and Great Expectations. Visual style, high contrast, Art Deco. Use geometric sunbursts, sharp gold outlines, and symmetrical luxury patterns. Color palette, burnished gold and black, accented with fiery orange and deep red to symbolize passion and danger. Slide structure, use split screen layouts for each slide, so I asked that. And then I tell them what the topic should be for each of the slides. And the goal is to show that for both men, the money was just a mask for a broken heart. This is the prompt, and this is what I got. And we'll just go and look at them rapidly one by one. But again, gorgeous. So you have the Great Gatsby on one side and Great Expectations, so the main characters. You see the details and it followed exactly what I asked for. It's really gorgeous. And then the second slide, the women, so Daisy and Estella. Then the money, so one made his money as a bootlegger. The other one got some money from a mysterious source, a convict actually. And then the symbol in each of them, the green light, the unattainable future in The Great Gatsby, and the saddest house, that is kind of what Pip was aspiring to. The fifth slide was the tragedy, so of course Gatsby being murdered in his pool. And for Pip, it's the Miss Havisham's burning up. Pretty grim. And finally, the lesson, you cannot buy the past, chasing a memory in the case of Gatsby, escaping a shadow in the case of Pip. I really, really love this, and you can be, as you can see, as you have seen in the prompt, you can be very specific as to what you want for these slide decks. The design was really, really, really stunning. Now, the second one, I wanted a conversation between Gatsby and Pip in the afterlife. I'll show you the prompt that I use here. So here we go. Write a dialogue between Jay Gatsby and Pip meeting at a bar in the afterlife. Gatsby, still delusional, insists that he almost had Daisy and that his parties were magnificent. He refuses to admit defeat. And of course, I can't help but seeing Leonardo DiCaprio in that role. And Pip, he's older, wiser, regretful, tries to explain to Gatsby that playing the gentleman for a girl is a hollow game. And the dynamic, Gatsby is the salesman of hope. Pip is the voice of experience. And with Gatsby looking at the green light at the bar, ignoring Pip's advice. You can see Gatsby here. I might read just a bit of it. Pip, and then Gatsby and Pip. And, you know, this one is clearly a conversation. So I'll just read you a bit of the first two here and the last one. So Gatsby, old sport. What a miserable establishment this is. It certainly doesn't compare to the bar I maintained in the main hall of my mansion. Real brass rail cordials forgotten by most guests. You claim I should feel defeat, but how can I when my vision was so nearly realized? Daisy loved it, old sport. She loved my house, the restoration salons, the period bedrooms swathed in rose and lavender silk. That's Gatsby. Pip, shaking his head slowly, tracing a mark on the dark wood of the bar with a finger. I love that because it puts you in the mood. You were always an extraordinary gift for hope, Jay. But hope for what? You threw yourself into an illusion with a creative passion, believing you could repeat the past. I know that kind of hope. It's what made me abandon dear honest Joe, the man who said, God bless you, dear old Pip, old chap. Because I became ashamed of his thick boots and coarse hands after a girl told me I was common. And the end... Gatsby. He turns away, hands unconsciously slipping into his pockets, his gaze fixed on a tiny, far-off light refracting in a bottle on the bar's back shelf. His voice drops to an intense whisper, ignoring Pip entirely. You always have a green light that burns all night at the end of your dock. Tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms further, and one fine morning... So that was one of the main points of the whole book. So you can really see that Gatsby is still clinging to the dream, and Pip has finally seen through it. It's heartbreaking, and Pip tries to warn Gatsby that none of this was worth it. But Gatsby can't let go. Even in death, he's chasing that green light. NotebookLM is now a storytelling tool. If you're a fan of books like I am, try it. Upload your favorite books, create some matchups, and let the characters speak. And if you do, drop your pairings in the comments. I'd love to see what you've been up to. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this, you'll love these. See you next week.